GM friends, thanks for joining DeFi-Logic Symposium Sunday, every Sunday at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. As a member of the DeFi-Logic server, you can join our call every week and discuss in real time. Link is in the description below. DeFi-Logic is the crypto think tank for better decisions. In today's community call, we'll review daily dose reports covering how Jupiter is changing the game for Solana chain users for the weekly dose theme, triggers of a super cycle and implications for investors for F8 Friday, and finally a wrap up with SPX DXY weekly market callbacks with Eddie, and a quick discussion on recent write-up from GeForce titled AI is not only driving technology but also the market. So we'll get started.
All right, so we hear a lot about super cycle. What is a super cycle? Why do we think there is going to be a super cycle as rational investors and traders? There are multiple reasons why rational people believe that there will be a super cycle this cycle in the bull market. So we could simply say that it is something that's distinct from a normal short-term price fluctuation, typically in the crypto market, right? Crypto's highly volatile. So what is a super cycle? It's basically an extended price action, continuous up movement, basically goes into the whole narrative of up only forever type thing. And there are several, I guess we could say, indicators for what a super cycle is characterized by. So we have an extended bull market, right? So we've had bull markets before. Each one has more dynamic elements than the previous bull markets, right? Like 2021 bull market had a lot more DeFi. Actually, it had DeFi, right? DeFi didn't really exist before that. It was much more developed. NFTs played into it. We started seeing a little bit of institutional adoption, very slight, not significant, as we've seen prior to this bull run. We've seen increased adoption with Bitcoin ETF and the upcoming Ethereum ETF, which should get pushed through. We'll see if it does, but it seems like at this point, Gary Gensler doesn't really have a leg to stand on, and he's losing a lot of power because everything that he's trying to do inside and outside of SEC is not panning out for this guy. Market sentiment, right? And network effects. So obviously market sentiment speaks for itself, but network effects, what is that? It's essentially, right, where things within crypto develop to a point where, and not just crypto, but any market, it develops to a point where the new adopters are able to use the platform or like platforms within a certain ecosystem to a much higher degree than they were before, right? So in order to see this extended bull market, which we think it's going to be, right? This is a little bit of a projection. We do see the increased adoption with institutions, right? Wells Fargo is offering exposure to the ETF now to its customers. BlackRock is a massive, probably the most massive player in the world that's pushing the ETF that they have, right? Along with other contenders. Market sentiment right now, I would say in terms of Google search terms, right? It's starting to go up, but we're close to the previous all-time high, currently sitting around $63,000 Bitcoin. Previous all-time high was around just below $70,000 Bitcoin, depending on the exchange that you were on. But the attention from retail, they're still like really fading crypto, right? Just based on Google search terms, other factors. And now in terms of network effects, we have, for a while, we've had the interoperability narrative, right, in crypto. And we see a lot of projects that are coming out that are trying to make it more accessible to normies, whether that's like wallets or cross-chain interoperability, right? Because the latency rate in crypto is a problem in terms of how you have to bridge from this chain to that chain to do this, to do that. It's a pain in the ass for even people that have been in the space for 5 to 10 years at this point. So I think that's probably a general overview of the super cycle, why we think it's going to take off and be a super cycle. It'll be an extended bull market, most likely. A big indicator is the, So we have the institutional adoption. The market sentiment is bullish, but retail is basically ignoring it, except for the OGs that have been in the space for a long time as retail investors. We have Cosmos and Injective, among others, that are critical in terms of the interoperability. Despite problems with inflation and overspending by the US government, the crypto market is pumping like crazy everywhere you look, right? So crypto doesn't really care about the rest of the world at this point. And then we have the fact that BlackRock and other firms are offering the ETFs is significantly higher confidence from institutions in crypto than previous cycles, right? Like previous cycles, especially in 2021, we had JP Morgan Chase, Jamie Dimon saying that it's bullshit, it's garbage, it's not going to do anything, it's worthless, blah, 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 whatever, right? Many reasons for that we won't get into, but bottom line is that having these institutions not only with exposure like MicroStrategies, but that they are actually they have a product to sell, right? They want to pump their bags. They want to make money on this. And in doing so, in a longer conversation, we can get into the fact that they have to actually hold Bitcoin in order to offer the Bitcoin ETF. And as they increase exposure with the ETF, right, to clients, they have to actually acquire more, right? And it's going to be the same thing with Ethereum if the Ethereum ETF is approved, and potentially other ETFs in the future, right? So this is something that is going to really drive the next cycle. And we can see the similarities and differences with typical bull runs versus a super cycle is that typical bull runs or market cycles are influenced obviously by investor sentiment, market liquidity, and external economic factors, right? With this potential super cycle that we're going to run into, the duration for the bull run and the cycle overall will be much longer. And it's going to be in conjunction with fundamental changes that are emerging now at the very beginning of the bull run with technology or adoption patterns. And here it's the and case, not the or, and the ability to reshape the market landscape. And it's much deeper than that, but I think that's probably the simplest way to say it, right? So we have basically what I would consider, and there's probably a couple more factors in here, right? For the triggers and for the mechanics, right? One that we definitely need to see is regulatory clarity, which I think might come with the next presidential race and election, which would likely be during cycle itself. So we shall see how this goes. Also in conjunction, don't forget about the upcoming halvening, which should be next month, roughly, depending on how slow or fast Bitcoin is. I think I've curated a few posts from big accounts and small accounts on crypto, on the super cycle concept. I think this is the misconception for 2021 was that the Alameda and FTX fiasco was driving it. You can see this here and definitely check out the link on Twitter. We'll have it in our write-up as well that I'm talking about, where it's like ICO, DeFi, NFT, and King at the same time. They all play into this super cycle situation that we find ourselves in. There's like multiple catalysts and factors that drive a super cycle. And I feel like this is an elementary way to say it, right? But these definitely play into it, and I definitely agree with this. It's a broader picture. I think the only thing that we're missing right now is regulatory clarity. But at some point, like, that doesn't even matter, right? That's probably like more of a footnote or a sub-bullet point on if we get a super cycle or not. And from a really small account, we liked with the DeFi-Logic account. Could be a longer bull cycle, more than 2 years, and more frequent short dips. And this guy correlates it to gold from 2000 to 2000, which would be interesting to hear John speak about since he's an OG and a boomer. I don't think he's actually a boomer, but he's close to it. Yeah, that's pretty much it for me on the super cycle. Hopefully the next run is a super cycle because we will all be rich. It'll be really hard to not make money.
Let's go. Thank you so much for that write-up, Pepe. Greatly appreciate it. And next, we'll bring up some Young Sloth and Trill. They will be covering the weekly dose theme, which was Jupe. So I'm going to invite them up on the stage here to talk, and we'll get a nice breakdown of the wallet findings as well as some of the top token audit of this platform. All right, guys, over to you.
Okay. All right, I'll go ahead and start off first. All right, so this is the main Jupiter site. So this is their swap app here. So if we go over here to the Jupiter station, then they have this section called stats, and then it's basically an overview of the trading volume for the daily, weekly, and monthly. So we see current trading volume on Jupiter is sitting at 1.2, almost 1.3 million for the day. And that shows you total transactions, unique wallets, and then we see top trading pairs here. And then what's funny is 3 out of the 10 trading pair are for a WIF. So we got the WIF Sol, WIF USDC, and WIF USDT. And just between those 3 combined, it's almost 100 million in trading volume for the day. And then we see the top tokens. And then once again, we see 4 out of the top 10 are actually meme coins. We got WIF, Bonk, WEN, and then PopCat. And then top pool providers, we see Orca, Radium, and then Meteora. And if we look at the weekly, we see total volume for the week is at 6.8 billion, and then the monthly is currently at 15.3 billion. And that's pretty much all they have for this as far as stats go. So I found this Dune Analytics dashboard, and this goes over some analytics for the Jupe airdrop. So it shows there's been 532,000 wallets that claimed the Jupe airdrop with a total of 738.2 million. And it's showing currently 18.4% of those wallets are still holding, but it also doesn't factor in DeFi participation. So the number might actually be higher because they might have their staked or in a lending pool somewhere. And then this is the main Jupiter token contract. So we see here it shows the top holders, current market cap at 6.3 billion, current supply almost at 10 billion. So I took a look at some of the wallets in the top 30 because a lot of them were either Twitter team wallets, exchange wallets, there's some market maker wallets and a few others. So I went through some that aren't, and we see here for this one, so they got a total of 27 million worth of assets, with Bonk accounting for half of that, and then Sol almost at 8 million, then Jupe at 3.4, Pyth at almost 1 million, and then some Radium and Cheeto. And then there's another one here that actually has a similar wallet makeup. So once again, they have Bonk as their highest holding, 4.6, got about 3 million worth of Sol and Jupe, and then Pyth at 1, and then a few other smaller ones like Star Atlas, which is a gaming project, Helium, and then some little bit of stable coins. Another one, they have 2.8 of Jupe, and then a bunch of other altcoins like Crown and Ari, which are also GameFi projects, and then a few smaller holdings there. And this one here, so they have a total of 42 million, with actually almost or over 12 million just in Jupe alone, and then 2.3 in Bonk, good amount of WEN and GeoFX, which I'm not really familiar with. Another one here, which is just straight Jupe, about $2.1 million worth. Next one, same thing, it's just Jupe at 2.8, and then probably a small airdrop of PEPE. And then this one here, similar, so they got 6.2 million of Jupe, 84,000 of Sol, and then a little bit of PEPE. So we see some correlation. A lot of these larger holders are obviously also bullish on these bigger meme coins as well. And yeah, that's about it for my section.
Go over at least what's available for the technicals at Jupiter, because it's not like a whole lot. Jupiter, as far as the date, was founded in 2021. The interesting thing about Jupiter is it's a DEX aggregator. So if you understand what a DEX or a SEX is, a centralized exchange or decentralized exchange, they obviously are exchanges and they show you a price. Jupiter being an aggregator, its price is pulled from multiple different sources and different dexes. So, and here, fees that are charged they just charge network Solana fees. The 3 more airdrops, because there's going to be 4 rounds of airdrops, 50% to the team, the community, and not even the full amount that will be circulating is circulating. The app itself provides a lot of features and a lot of different functions. So you don't have to go to different dApp. The team plans to add utility, so it's just made to show to increase the quality of life on Soul Chain.
So next we're going to bring up Eddie. Eddie's going to look over some market call and whatever chart he likes to lay on us. We'll go ahead and let him.
Guys, we're going to make this kind of quick because I don't want to run too many victory laps up here today, but basically we've been winning. So we came up with this plan on PEPE on stream by accident, and then I also shared it in the server. So if you're not in our server, you're missing out on what is now a 60-hour trade. But yeah, it was pretty sweet. So basically, to relive what happened, saw it in this accumulation zone, and I noticed that I was starting to put in some bullish market structure. So came into lower time frame, wanted to get an entry there. That was basically the Pico bottom for 66R return. I know some of the guys caught this because of this, and the cool news is like that was basically catching the breakout bottom before it went crazy, and now it's got the attention of everything. It seemed like it's stopping anytime soon. This is just something that you just want to be buying dips on because the market really likes PEPE, and we freaking nailed it. So unless you guys want me to go over some more stuff, that was really all I wanted to call back on today was this freaking legendary trade. But there's a whole bunch more too. So
no, that's perfect, Eddie. Thank you so much. And I just will remind everybody we do have TA Tuesday every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. So Eddie and G-Force will be going over different charts, as well as you can always submit requests to in the Discord. Feel free to tag either one of them for that, and we'll get it added to the list. But TA Tuesdays, 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. In the meantime, we'll go ahead and bring up G-Force. And G-Force has some stuff for us today. So it looks like he'll probably do the standard charts for SPX and DXY, but then you also did a write-up on AI and how it's not only driving technology, but also the market. So looking forward to hearing about that. So the stage is yours.
Hey, thank you, Christine. Appreciate it. And yeah, I'll go over exactly what she had talked about. So first, we're going to look at S&P 500 and NASDAQ because they're really getting to all-time highs the last couple of days. So, and we will get to S&P. Right now, basically, if you look at the S&P 500, it just keeps melting up. There's a lot of low volatility and low volume, but you can see here that it's climbed up over 5,100, and it closed on Friday at 51.37. So the pop you see here that we had basically was last week, and that pop was off of NVIDIA. So, and I'll get to NVIDIA in a little bit. So since NVIDIA is in the S&P 500, that's why it also got the pop. NASDAQ also popped then, but you can see on Friday, this last Friday, that it really popped up. It's at 18,302. And that is all based on AI and NVIDIA. So let's cruise to NVIDIA and take a look at it since I'm talking about it. And then I'll get to my write-up because my write-up was about them. So NVIDIA, basically, they had their earnings after the market on Wednesday, back on February 20, and it just blew out. It went up 110 points, and it climbed all the way to the 2x band. And then you'll see that it just keeps climbing higher. That is basically everybody's understanding that AI is going to be the bull market mover for the next few years. So NVIDIA is a proxy for AI because it makes most of the AI chips. It's just like Intel was in the late 80s, early 90s, where Intel cornered the computer chip market. NVIDIA has cornered the AI chip market. So they're just a proxy for AI and what's going to happen that way. My write-up was about AI is not only driving the market technology, but also the markets. So AI basically is what's pumping everything. And we also have another pump that's going on in the crypto markets, as everybody's talked about. So what's happened with AI is just everybody's understanding that this is going to affect every aspect of their life. The internet was probably the same way everybody was thinking, but I wrote up in this write-up here that I posted, or I will be posting this weekend. This is a quote from James McIntosh, who's been a Wall Street Journal reporter and editor for a long time, over 30 years. So his quote was pretty good. And this was happening he quoted this on Friday. Said, but is this a bubble? We're talking about NVIDIA and AI. There's no single definition of a market bubble, but for me, it has to involve a speculative mania. Okay, that's important. That was 2 words, speculative mania. Because back in 2000, the dot-com bust, there was speculative mania. It says, it's when buyers in mass cross the line from assessing future profit potential to buying something they know is unreasonably expensive, or just don't care about the price at all, but they think a greater fool will buy it off of them at even a higher price. And then he says, this seems to be missing. So I remember back in 2000, as PEPE says, is that this is something that you can't measure, speculative mania. It's not any kind of indicator. It's not any kind of measurement you can do. It's just sentiment. You know, and you have the feeling that, okay, is this just crazy nonsense, or is this just going up because there is so much potential? And the AI, as everybody knows, has this much potential. Okay, is there going to be some government regulation? Yeah, there probably will be, but it's going to affect every avenue of our life. And also in this write-up, I talked about where it will also affect just your daily routine in your house. It'll show you what kind of you should be doing first instead of the second to make your house routine even better, things of that nature. So it's getting to the point where it's going to, the normal everyday things, it's going to run your household. And then people, once they have that, they're not going to get away from it. I also did write about how Bitcoin rally is not hype either. And when I talked about that is basically because Bitcoin has the ETFs now. You have Ethereum that's also going to have their ETF probably approved by the SEC this month. And that is basically the pension funds are just going to pour money into this. Pension funds and retirement money. So Kathy Wood from ARK is right. This is going to turn into a $9 trillion market within 5 years. And it's just, again, is there speculative mania on this? This one, just like NVIDIA, it's not because you have that pension fund and retirement money that's the safety net underneath it. So in my write-up, I asked a question, is both of these basically just crazy speculative markets? And the answer is no. So there's a lot of support and underneath girding, if you want to call it, that's going to keep things going and the rally is going to continue. That's all I have. Turn it back over to you.
And that's it for this week. As a DeFi-Logic server member, you can request chart reviews for TA Tuesday and discuss markets daily with other server members. We've locked in a new partnership with Lowfin for $100 future bonus. Affiliate link is in the description below. The exchange has proof of reserve wallets on Nansen, which is an excellent standard to set for centralized exchanges. We hope more follow in their footsteps. Join our server now. Early members get free server access for life and future discounts on additional products in server. See you next Sunday. GN friends.
Join us next week in Discord for Symposium Sunday at DeFiLogic.com.